Hey guys, YouTube 100 here. Alright, now here I am with another Marvel Stinker review. And as I told you in my last review, now here I am with a review for the Fantastic Four sequel, Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer. So, yeah, this is right so far like the best Fantastic Four film of all time. But that's really not saying a whole lot because still, like, this film still is not very good at all. Yeah, I mean, it is, like, overall, like, an improvement over the first film, but it is still, like, a pretty lame overall. Just, yeah, this film really just doesn't seem to, like, have really, like much more than the first film did. I mean, it just seems to be the same film. It just like has maybe like just it has the introduction. Yeah, it does like feature the Silver Surfer, and that's pretty much just like the only new thing that this film really has. The rest of the film is pretty much just the exact same thing as the first one. It's just like there's a very lack of the Fantastic Four actually in action. And granted, I guess we do get to see like a little bit more of them in action than we did in the first film, where they were like just in action like the last 15 minutes or so of the film. But yeah, there's still like not a whole lot of them in action in this film. This film is really mainly like focused on like when the Silver Surfer like coming to Earth, and then like they're all just like trying to figure like learn about him and what he's come for, and they're like trying to capture him and stuff. And so then, yeah, once he actually does like talk about why he's actually there, then they just like try to help him like just get out of the situation that he's in. And yeah, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much like the only thing new that this film has from the first one. So yeah, so I guess it was like be cool to actually see the Silver Surfer in a movie. Yeah, and yeah, I guess it was like fitting to put him in this because yeah, Silver Surfer was like occasionally featured in the Fantastic Four comics, so I guess it did kind of like make sense to like have him be in a Fantastic Four film. So yeah, and yeah, it was cool to see him. Like yeah, the Silver Surfer is like. I think he's a very overlooked Marvel character. Like when people think of Marvel characters, they don't like really like immediately think of Silver Surfer. Like if somebody like does bring up the Silver Surfer, people will remember him, but he's not like a one that people will just like think right off the top of their heads. And yeah, Silver Surfer, he's actually a really cool character. So yeah, I guess it was like cool to actually see the Silver Surfer in a movie. So yeah, I guess I will give that to this movie. Yeah, but yeah, everything else. I mean, I guess this film is like a little bit better paced than the first film is, but not by that much. Like the film is still like pretty lame and boring and just yeah, it's really just not what the Fantastic Four is really all about. So yeah, and so yeah, I guess like due to that, like I guess like the first film did well enough to really like get this film as a sequel, but yeah, I guess like this film really didn't do as well as the first film did, and after that, that's when like this series was that like officially canceled. So, but yeah, like Nostalgia Critic said, like to this film's credit, this series of the Fantastic Four did at least make it to a sequel, while the other ones didn't. So yeah, I guess this has been like the most successful Fantastic Four franchise, but even then, it's still not wasn't a big success. So yeah, so just about everybody from the first film did return. You still do have like Ian Griffith, uh, Chris Evans, and Jessica Alba, and Michael Chiklis all back, as well as like Julian McMahon back as Doctor Doom. Um, and yeah, you do also have Kerry Washington back as Ben's girlfriend Alicia and stuff. So yeah, oh yeah, so yeah, pretty much like all the original cast did come back, and yeah, in this film you also do have like Doug Jones like performing as the Silver Surfer, but Lawrence Fishburne is like providing the voice of the Silver Surfer. So yeah, and this is another one. Like Lawrence Fishburne is like another actor that was like in a previous Marvel property film and even like a previous comic book film that would go on to be in like others in the future. Yeah, because of course like Lawrence Fishburne like he like was plays Perry White in the DC Cinematic Universe, well, at least in like a Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman, and of course, like he was also in Ant-Man and the Wasp as Bill Foster. So yeah, just like as I was saying before, like yeah, I've been noticing like like several of these stinger films I've been talking about. They feature like actors that would go on to be in like other comic book films in the future, and yeah, this is another one with Lawrence Fishburne. So yeah, yeah, and like this film also does like have the subplot after like a collision with the Silver Surfer and Johnny. Like Johnny like has like some sort of condition where like whenever another member of the Fantastic Four touches him or he touches them, like he like ends up like swapping powers with them. So yeah, I guess it's kind of like an interesting subplot with Johnny. Like he like is going through like that sort of condition, and yeah, I guess it is kind of cool though. Cool to like see him kind of like swap powers with another member of the Fantastic Four. So yeah, and yeah, even like in like the fight at the end of the film with Doctor Doom, like what happens with him, I guess like it is kind of silly, but it is like still kind of cool seeing it. So yeah, so yeah, so there's really not that much else to really say about it. Just it does like added a few. Well, like it does add like a new character with the Silver Surfer, and yeah, it is like just like a little bit better paced than the first film is. But yeah, it's still like while it is overall the quote unquote best of the Fantastic Four films as of now, it's still not that good. And yeah, I don't know if like, dude, I guess I don't know if like with this film they were like trying to really like take a different turn with the series and kind of like have it be more geared towards the kids, because yeah, while the first film was had a PG-13 rating, this film is only rated PG, and even then, like this film is also like seems pretty short. I mean, this film is only like 90 minutes long, so yeah, I guess I don't know if like they were actually trying to like take a different turn with this and trying to like have it like sort of like be geared more to the younger audiences. Yeah, but yeah, regardless of what they were trying to do with it, yeah, this film it still really didn't do that well, and it really didn't gross nearly as much as the first film did. So I guess that's one of the reasons why after this, like this series ended up just being scrapped, and yeah, of course they ended up like rebooting it several years later and screwing the Fantastic Four up even more. So yeah, so yeah, but yeah, regardless, yeah, still uh, slightly better than the first one, but still not all that good. So I would probably give this film like 2.25 stars out of 4. So yeah, so yes, that is the best Fantastic Four film. So I guess this just goes to show like how bad the films are. All right, so yeah, okay, so yeah, let me just get right into the premise of this film. So, as the film opens up, it shows like this. There's this like type of planet or something like being destroyed. Like it just ends up exploding, and it also shows like this silver object that's like emerging from the planet and just is like pretty acting as like a meteorite or a shooting star or something. Yeah, it's just like really like just passing by like shooting through, and yeah, then like showing that it's like entering the Earth's atmosphere, and it also is like creating like immense craters all around the world and stuff. Yeah, and then it shows that Reed and Sue are now planning their wedding out. Oh yeah, yeah, and it also like ends up showing that like uh the silver yeah the yeah the just the yeah the silver object just ends up like flying past um Latveria here, and it shows that like the cosmic energy he ends up like affecting Victor, and it like ends up freeing him from the metal statuing that he was encased in at the end of the first one. Yeah, yeah, and as uh, uh Reed was still like preparing for the wedding with Sue, who then like the army general like was then just telling Reed that about it, and that he has to like track and identify the movements of the silver object. And yeah, with Sue there, like Reed was just saying that he was just refusing to do it, but he secretly, like behind Sue's back, did agree to actually track it down. Yeah, and as he then made a system to actually detect the object, it shows that like it's like causing like blackouts and everything, and wherever it passes through. When even like now New York City was even suffering a blackout from the electromagnetic pulses. Then during the John Reed and Sue's wedding, then the object then and was passing by, and it was just causing like just causing electromagnetic pulses all around. It like almost caused a helicopter to crash land down on where the wedding was. And then Johnny then ended up pursuing the object, and then as Johnny gave chase to it, then he discovered that it was like a silver humanoid on a flying surfboard. Or now they deemed it the Silver Surfer, and then Silver Surfer then just grabbed a hold of Johnny by the throat and then just lifted him up to the upper atmosphere of the earth and then just choked him out and then dropped him. And then Johnny's like powers were like not functioning, and then he was just able to he was just barely able to like start up at the very last moment, and then he survived. And then as he was telling the other he was telling Reed, Sue, Ben, and the army about Surfer, then and they were just knew like how what to really look for now. And then there was a moment like as Johnny was like trying to walk off like all the his condition and stuff, like as just trying to walk off what he was feeling from the confrontation. Then and Johnny just ended up like falling out of like a off a cliff or something. And then as Sue went to check on Johnny, all of a sudden then they just ended up like switching powers, with like Sue now being like having Johnny's fiery powers, and Johnny now being like invisible and stuff. And then Reed and Johnny were able to like just save Sue. And then they then did another thing with like Sue being new, just like they did in the first movie. I mean, are they just like can they just like not resist doing this? I mean, is it just because Jessica Alba was so hot, like they just couldn't resist like having her naked in both films? So I don't know what the obsession is with that, but it is what it is. And then Reed then like after doing tests on Johnny, honey, like he then like analyzed that after that exposure to the surfer, it like affected Johnny's molecular structure, and then it just made like any contact with the other three of them would switch over their powers. And then Ben was just like then like messing around with Johnny, and then he touched him, and then it switched powers with him, Ben and Johnny, and now Johnny was now the thing. Though, one of my questions about that is like if you've seen that scene, it shows that like when Ben is the thing, like it shows that like his voice is actually deeper when he becomes the thing, but yet when Johnny transformed into the thing, like his voice was still the same. So what's up with that? Like, why is Johnny's voice still the same, but Ben's becomes deeper? That's something that I've always like questioned ever since saw this film for the first time. Like, it's just really strange. Like, why Ben's voice is deeper, but Johnny's isn't? But Anyway, and then after they were as like Reed was just tracing some more of the Silver Surfer's cosmic energy, Reed discovers that there was actually a series of planets that the Surfers visited that had been destroyed. And then meanwhile, then as the Surfer was passing through the Russell Glacier, Doctor Doom then like traced the Surfer as well, and then he was offering the Surfer to join forces with him, but the Surfer rebuffed him. And then Doctor Doom like tried to attack the Surfer, but the Surfer ended up retaliated and blasted Doom through ice. But then like due to all the cosmic energy, that actually like caused Surfer's blast to actually heal up Doctor Doom's body from all the metal exposure that he had. Yeah, and then it like showed like as Reed and Sue like talking, and it showed that they were talking about like actually contemplating. They were like contemplating abandoning their lives as heroes. And they just want to have a normal life and raise a family and just get away from that because they just feel that with like all their like duties as part of Fantastic Four, they can't actually have a family life. And then yeah, they just now we're like thinking of just abandoning that life and just having a normal life with a family. But yeah, Johnny was listening in on that, and then he told Ben about it, and yeah, Ben and Johnny were not happy about it. But then, as the surfer was like making craters around the globe, then Reed like came up with the analysis that the surfer is like going to be appearing in London next, and so then as they arrived in London to try to stop the surfer, it showed that like there was a crater that hit in London, and it ended up like draining the River Thames. But uh, then, as the London Eye was also like starting to collapse, they were able to actually stop that. So yeah, that's is actually something with them in action, like fighting something that actually they didn't actually cause. So yeah, they were actually doing the right thing for once. Yeah, and then yeah, and then like as that was going on, also Johnny also ended up like swapping up with Reed and switching powers with him too. So yeah, Johnny like swapped powers with all three of them at different points in the movie. Yeah, yeah, and then and yeah, due to like what happened to the River Thames, then like the military then just like forced the Fantastic Four to now work with Doctor Doom because yeah, Doom like leveraged his experience with the deal with the military, and so it like ended up just forcing them to having to agree to work with him. And then after like coming up with the deduction that well, they deduced that the Surfer's board was actually the source of his power, or like Reed then like developed a pulse generator that could actually separate the Silver Surfer from it, and showed that Doctor Doom was also devising a machine that he was actually keeping the functions a secret to, and then and they went and they set it up in the Black Forest, and at one point then the Surfer then came face to face with Sue, and he was just telling Sue that he's not a destroyer and he's just a servant to the destroyer of worlds, and he's actually in regret of every destruction that he's caused. But then, the military then like was it shot down and fired off at the surfer, and then like as he was distracted by that, then that allowed the Fantastic Four to activate the pulse, and then and caused the surfer to get separated from his board. And so then, yeah, the surfer then ended up being captured and imprisoned by the military in Siberia. And then, as the Fantastic Four were being like separated away from the surfer, like Johnny, Reed, and Ben were then just distracting the guards to allow Sue time to actually like sneak in into the surfer cell and talk to him, and then uh yeah, and then uh, the Silver Surfer was then just like telling Sue that his master is actually like known by the people of his world as Galactus. Yeah, and I'm sure like if you know Marvel comics, you know who Galactus is. He's like just a huge giant that's like a planet eater. Yeah, I remember like I've actually like played the Lego Marvel superheroes game, and like in the fun the final boss of the game is actually him, and like all the characters like team up to just try to take him down. So yeah, I do know like about Galactus, so I know who he is. Yeah, though we don't actually ever see him in this film, so yeah, that kind of sucks. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, the Surfer was just telling him that Galactus is a massive, if cloud, cosmic entity that ends up like feeding on life-bearing planets in order to survive, and that the Surfer's board is actually like a homing beacon that would summon Galactus to the planet. And so then yeah, he then just like told Sue that like they've got only about like 24 hours before Galactus actually does destroy the Earth. And yeah, Silver Surfer also like said that that he needs to actually serve Galactus or his planet will be destroyed. So then, yeah. But then, yeah, Doctor Doom then eventually ended up betraying the military and the general, and then stole the board from the compound and killed the army, which included the general. And then the Fantastic Four then pursued Doom after rescuing the Surfer, and they actually did use the Fantastic Car in this film. So yeah, it was cool that we did get to see the Fantastic Car in this movie. Yeah. And as they were like chasing after Doctor Doom, like Silver Surfer also told Sue that his real name is Norrin Radd. And yeah, yeah. And then yeah, as they were all like in pursuit of Doctor Doom, whom at one point like as a Silver Surfer was just standing there like powerless, of course, without his surfboard. Like Sue was like standing in front of the Surfer to try to protect him, but yeah, Sue ended up being wounded by a shot from Doctor Doom. And then yeah, as Sue was like dying, then and like Reed, Ben, and Johnny then like realize that they have to. It's going to take all of them to stop Doctor Doom, but then yeah, Johnny then came up with the idea that it may take only one of them, and then Johnny absorbed like all three of Johnny's, Ben, and Sue's powers, and then fought Doctor Doom off. So yeah, I guess that was kind of cool to like see like all four of the Fantastic Four powers in one member's body. So I guess that was kind of cool to see. Yeah, yeah, and then yeah, Johnny then was able to break Doom's control over the surfboard, and then Ben then used like a crane to knock Doctor Doom into the harbor and defeat him. Yeah. And then it then showed like Sue then like died in Reed's arms, and then it just like showed that that was the moment that Galactus had then arrived. But then the Surfer then regained control of his board, and then it restored his power. And then he then ended up reviving Sue, and then went to defend Earth to fight off Galactus. And as he was like flying towards Galactus, Johnny even like gave the Surfer a hand, giving him an extra boost into Galactus. And then yeah, as then like the Surfer then had the conflict with Galactus, then and like it just like ended up like resulting in just a huge blast of energy to engulf Galactus, and then that like the blast apparently like supposedly ended up killing the Silver Surfer as well. Yeah, and then it showed them uh, Sue then woke up, and then they were all reunited with each other, and it also showed that Johnny was now cured from the molecular state, and that he could be touched again. And after he touched the Surfer's board, yeah, yeah, and then yeah, Ben felt that they thought that now after that was done, they were going to go their separate ways. But yeah, Johnny and well, not Johnny, Reed and Sue said they were going to stay, because they have to be a team, and that proves and that they really don't have to be normal to have a family. Yeah, and then yeah, Reed and Sue then like did their wedding again, but this time there was in Japan. And after like they received news that Venice is like sinking into the Adriatic, it, then they just like abbreviated their wedding ceremony, and then they headed to Italy in the Fantastic Car. And there was like a silly moment where like as Sue was throwing out the bouquet, Johnny then just like burnt it down, and then showed them taking the Fantastic Car out to Italy. And then yeah, just like how the first one ended, they as they were flying off, they then created their Fantastic Four symbol in the sky, and then just flew off. Yeah. And as the credits then were starting to roll, then it showed like this small little scene where it showed the Silver Surfer's body like in space, seemingly lifeless, but then it showed that he opened his eyes, and then the board was racing back over to him. So I guess that was showing that he was still alive. So yeah, so I don't know if like that was like kind of like hinting up to like him appearing in like the possible third movie that they were probably originally planning to do. But yeah, like I said, since this movie really didn't do so well, that's probably why it ended up being canceled. So yeah. Yeah, so like I said, I mean, I guess like there's nothing really like in it that really just makes people really pisses people off. Just like yeah, Nostalgia Critic said in his review for this film that this film really didn't seem to really try as much as other Fantastic Four films. So I guess there's really nothing that's worth really getting that angry over. But yeah, still like while it is like the overall the best Fantastic Four film, it's still not very good. So yeah, yeah, it just is once again like a pretty boring and just yeah, there's really not a whole lot added to it, and yeah, I guess yeah, just overall it is just slightly better paced than the first film. So oh yeah, so yeah, it just is like yeah, that's the best way to put it. Just slightly better paced than the first film. So yeah, and yeah, this is overall the best Fantastic Four film, but still not very good. So yeah, so yeah, as far as like the future of the Fantastic Four goes, like of course, like as I did was said earlier on, like they ended up like rebooting the Fantastic Four, or of course in 2015. But yeah, they did even Fox did even worse with that film than they did with these two films. So yeah, but now with the Disney actually like purchasing 21st Century Fox, and now all Fox's Marvel properties are now back with Marvel. Well, hopefully, whatever Marvel does plan to do with Fantastic Four, whenever they actually do plan to integrate them in the MCU, whenever that may be. Hopefully, like Marvel can actually finally do the Fantastic Four justice in the films, and yeah, we could actually get a good representation of the Fantastic Four. And as far as the Silver Surfer goes, well, yeah, like I said, like it was cool to see him in this film. So yeah, and I would really actually like to see like a solo Silver Surfer movie where it's just like focused on him. That's something that I've really like been interested in seeing for quite a while. So I don't know if Marvel does have any plans for the Silver Surfer. I don't know like where Silver Surfer actually does like stand. Like who, what studio does actually have the rights to him? But yeah, I would actually like to see a Silver Surfer movie made in the future. I mean, and yeah, I think the interest is there for some people since like Silver Surfer is really looked at as a really cool character. I mean, Stan Lee even said that the Silver Surfer was one of his favorite characters. So yeah, so I guess that there is like interest in a Silver Surfer movie by people. So will could there ever be like just an actual Silver Surfer movie ever made? I mean, nothing's really been said about it, but I would like to see it. So I guess only time will tell in the future. See if we ever do get it. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, so I guess that's all I can really say about it. So yeah, alright. So I guess that's it for my review of Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer. So I hope you guys did enjoy this review. And yeah, and so now after this, there is one more Marvel Sinker that I am going to review. So yeah, I've got one more film in these Marvel Stinker reviews coming up next. So stay tuned for that as I finish off these reviews. But in the meantime, I hope you guys did enjoy this review. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.